Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Seen Beyond and Through with Monty. Right before you is Omarosa, and she's going to mention a very serious topic that is relevant to this particular video in which I'm going to do today. So I want you to pay attention to this short clip when she was on the Bethany Frankel show as to what she is talking about.
Different for you and I. I'm an African-American woman. You get to walk around and be mediocre and you still get rewarded with things. We have to be exceptional to get anything in this business. I wasn't calling her mediocre because clearly she's doing well. I'm here on your show and I think that's fantastic. And you're
So as I mentioned, that was Omarosa, and that was during her stint in which she did on the Bethany Frankel show, which seemed like it took Bethany and the audience kind of aback. Like they didn't really understand what she was saying, but other people who are not white, particularly black people, do understand greatly as to what she was talking about. And she was talking about being mediocre. And basically, if you're black, you have to pretty much prove yourself, or you have to be extraordinary. And many people, as I mentioned before, who are not black, just don't get that because they have the benefit of white skin privilege. Now, as I stated before, we had black performers who had to be extraordinary in their craft. They had to be just excellent. Little Richard, Michael Jackson, the king of pop, who we know was an excellent out-of-this-world performer. We have Whitney Houston, whose voice was otherworldly. She had to be excellent to be considered great. We have Rakim, who is an extremely gifted rapper, who is known as one of the best rappers of all time. Eminem even stated that he believes that Rakim is the best rapper who ever walked the earth. We have the Temptations, whose vocal melodies, it was just unmatched. They were just an incredible group. And we're talking about, along with the Temptations, we had the Four Tops. We had plenty of black male groups. None of them were bad. It's almost like you could not be untalented. You could not sing and have a contract. You had to be the top of the cream of the crop, basically, though, to be considered in this league right here. But what has happened now? A lot of it have been replaced. We had singers who were not black, who, in my opinion, were not bad. I just do not think that they were as great or as gifted as the black singers who preceded them. Many times these particular white singers or non-black people are being held as being great or the greatest or the king with mediocre talent. And many times this so-called talent or greatness is based upon album sales. We're here in America where the vast majority of the people are white. And the vast majority of the people who control these industries, who make a determination as to what is great, as to who hands out awards, which accolades are given out, are white people, such as the Grammy Awards, American Music Awards, things like that. So we have individuals and band members, boy band members here who are very mediocre, but who are held to the standard of greatness. Which brings me today to Adele. Adele, as you know, is on a worldwide blitz these days with the release of her new album, 33. Now, this is going to be very subjective, but I think it needs to be said and told. This is not a hit piece on Adele, but definitely I'm not overblown by her talent. See, I find her voice to be average and I find Adele to be average at best. No, I do not think or look at Adele as being a great singer. But when Adele does pop up, you can see all these superlatives that are attached to her name. The world has missed her voice. Lord have mercy. Okay, her voice is incredible. Out of this world. Okay. Gives me goosebumps. Yes, is that ma'am? The woman is truly gifted. Oh my God, finally, an album that I'm going to enjoy. Damn, her voice is so powerful. You can go on. I've never seen or never been in love with a more artist voice. She gives me reason, I'm going to say probably reason to live. Okay, the superlatives continue right here. Adele never disappoints. The album is finna be, I guess, fire. Listen, she no joke. This lady is effing amazing. Oh my God. It goes on and on and on. Then it goes at the bottom there, the voice. So you can clearly see all of these accolades that are given to Adele about her average voice. And many of these people who are praising Adele are black people, which I find to be very surprising. And the reason why I find this to be very surprising is because 30 years ago, Adele would never have been considered to be a great singer within the black community. 30 or so years ago, people would kind of like brush her off and probably say that, well, she's okay, but she can't really sing that well. See, black people traditionally liked a voice more in line with what Tina Marie had. Tina Marie was a white female who went to Motown. And her first couple of albums at Motown, maybe her first one, they didn't show her face because they thought black audiences wouldn't accept her. But when they did show her, it didn't matter. They did accept her. Black people accepted her and embraced her more than any other group. She is known as a legend within the black community. Her voice is powerful, soulful. I mean, it's clear, it's crisp. She emits emotion with her voice. More so than Adele. She has range. She has good vocal control. A lot of things in which Adele just does not have. So therefore, it's puzzling to me as to, in this day and age, why so many black people consider Adele to be a great singer. Now, let me just say one thing. Adele is not terrible. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying she's a bad singer. I will say this. Again, she's average at best. She's not in the same league or level as like a Tina Marie. And what I believe with Adele has happened is that this is the result of marketing, a marketing campaign that someone like a Tina Marie did not have. We're in a different age right now. Internet, social media, things like that. And Tina Marie too. I mean, you had Motown behind her. And we know that having Motown behind you, how they pretty much robbed their artists. They just did not push them like whoever Adele's management is pushing her. Let me say one thing. Barbra Streisand, who is a much better singer than Adele, a much better voice, better vocal control, better technique. The black community didn't really accept Barbra Streisand. It's not because we didn't like her or not because she was, we didn't think that she can sing. It's because we had someone like a Minnie Riperton. We would prefer or preferred Minnie Riperton's style of singing and voice over Barbra Streisand. And Minnie Riperton's manager even stated that she can sing Streisand under a table. But we know that through management, as Aretha Franklin stated, Barbra Streisand had management who was excellent, who was able to push her, who was able to guide her into places that Minnie Riperton's management just could not. So a lot of it has to do with how one is being pushed, who are the managers, who are their agents, who are their record labels. Poor Tina Marie had Motown behind her as a label, and that did hurt her. Now, speaking of Adele and my puzzlement as to why she is so popular among black people, because her style of singing is not what many blacks in past times would have considered to be great. Adele to me has kind of like a country twang to her voice. And there's nothing wrong with a country singer. I actually love Dolly Parton. But if you listen to Adele's voice very well, there's a country twang to it. It's almost like if she were to make a country album or sing country, the crossover would be very well. It would be kind of authentic. But these are black church singers. And we have mentioned how Minnie Riperton's manager has stated that she could sing Streisand under a table. Well, there are many black church ladies who sing in choirs who can sing Adele under a table. This is the reason why it's very puzzling to me as to why so many black people are accepting her as a great singer. Now, I'm not saying that she should be rejected by the black community. Not at all. And I'm not saying that black people should not buy her music or listen to her. But great, amazing, talented, talent on a minuscule level, yes, vocally, but not anything spectacular. And speaking of spectacular singers who are better than Adele, I can think of many singers today who are better than Adele, who have better voice control, technique, quality, power, range, everything. Fantasia comes to mind. Jill Scott is another. Yolanda Adams is another. Rachel Farrell is another. And we have the almighty... Well, this is Jennifer Hudson. She's another singer. And we have the almighty queen herself, Queen Bee. And I want you to listen to something that Aaron Newman wrote 4 years ago in regarding, he was comparing Beyonce to Adele. Now, this particular video is not to compare really the two women, because it's not basically who's a better singer, Beyonce or Adele. But I do want you to listen to what he wrote. I'm going to read it. This is from Aaron Newman 4 years ago. He wrote it online. And it's about who's a better singer, Beyonce or Adele. He goes, and the answer is extremely subjective. Technically speaking, Beyonce is a way better vocalist than Adele. Beyonce can do things with her voice that Adele couldn't do in a million years. Beyonce can sustain notes for a long period of time without wavering in pitch. She can sing melismus quickly and effortlessly. She always sings from her diaphragm with a natural larynx, something Adele definitely needs to work on. And she almost is never off-key or off-pitch in her live performances. Once again, Adele needs to work on that. Her breath control, this is Beyonce, is almost perfect and very reminiscent of Barbra Streisand and earlier divas, who also had great breath control. There's plenty of more reasons why Beyonce is vocally superior, but the best part about this is that Beyonce is an entertainer, meaning she can do things vocally after jumping around on stage and almost out of breath that Adele can't do while standing still. But there is one reason why Adele is considered a better vocalist than Bey, and that is her tone quality, which is clear and soulful. Okay, I'm going to disagree with him about that. But let's go on. But tonal quality is subjective. I agree with that. To hearing, meaning that it depends on how the audience interprets it. Personally, the person who had the best tone quality will always be Miss Whitney Houston. Okay, agree. No one matches Whitney. But someone else, Mariah Carey, might have better tone quality, or Celine Dion. It all depends on interpretation. Okay, I agree for the most part what he stated. But keep one thing in mind. This is not a competition as to who's better, Beyonce or Adele. But I would say what he wrote. I read that because this can apply pretty much to all these ladies right here, who I think have better tone quality than Adele has. Who I think what Aaron talked about and what I just read, they have that over Adele. Now, this is a lady, Cece Peniston, who released the album Finally about 20 years ago. And there's a song on there, On the Inside, that I cried. This is a soapy ballad like Adele likes to sing. Compare the two vocals right then and there, and you'll see what I'm talking about. You see clear, you'll see pitch, you'll hear tone, resonance, everything. You will hear a great singer singing a ballad that Adele just cannot sing. It just doesn't match up. So, with Adele's vocals, to me, this is being subjective, this is just my opinion. Her voice is nothing special. To me, I find it to be flat, dry, with no vibrato. And someone please explain to me and tell me, how can anyone be considered a great singer when they have no vibrato? Whitney Houston had the vocal triad, where she sounded excellent in the low, medium, and high range. She also had a vibrato in the low, medium, and high range. That's elasticity. Adele's voice just does not really have that. Now, I do believe that Adele, when she speaks before songs, or when she's speaking in between songs, talking, she's excellent there. You got to hear her banter with the audience. Her engagement with the audience is extremely good. I would give her that much right there. And I will say that the way she releases her albums, she does give people time to miss her. 19, 21, 25, 30, 33. And I think that by naming them her age is just genius. It really is. And let me just tell you one thing I think that appeals to a lot of people. She's not selling sex appeal. She's not getting naked on stage. She's not gyrating or grinding. I believe that works in her favor because I think that's very refreshing. However, I do believe too, I had mentioned that it's perplexing to me as to why Adele is so popular among black people. I do believe that a lot of black audience, or black entertainers rather, are pushing her. I believe they're speaking out for her, such as Oprah, Tyler Perry. And I think that in general, getting back to that, I think that people like to jump on a bandwagon. I think Adele is selling how many records, gazillions of records. That's success. People like to be a part of someone else's success, immerse themselves into someone's success. So they want to be a part of that. So they jump on that particular bandwagon. But let me tell you what I think is another contributing factor to Adele's success. And that is Beyonce. See, what I have noticed about Beyonce, and if you guys pay attention, and I'm not going to speak in general terms, generalize a whole group of people, but let me just say this much. I have noticed that Beyonce tends to get a lot of hate from black women. Now, I believe that has to do with the fact that she is fair-skinned, light-skinned, I should say. And people somehow believe that by you having light skin, you have life easier, or they may believe that you have an advantage. In some cases, that's true among women. In a lot of cases, it's not. But I do believe that there is a dislike towards Beyonce among a lot of people. And I think that the closest singer who comes to outselling Beyonce, or who is their equal, is Adele. So I think that a lot of people cater towards Adele as a way to mitigate the success and popularity of Beyonce. I think they try to use Adele as a buffer, because I cannot tell you on black blogs when Beyonce lost out on her album Lemonade to Adele. I believe it was 25. And Beyonce had the most critically acclaimed album of that particular year. Pretty much all of the critics were in agreement that Beyonce had the better album than Adele. But Adele ended up winning the Grammy. But I cannot tell you how many black people surprisingly sided with Adele by stating that, no, she deserved it. So I do believe that particular mindset is out of dislike towards Beyonce. So I do believe that Adele's success is in part to people's dislike of Beyonce and them needing an artist who's equal in some ways who can outshine Queen Bee. So with that being stated, I do believe that Adele is deserving of some of the success that she's gotten. Would I see her in concert? Probably not. Her voice just doesn't move me. I do believe that some of her songs are good, that I do like. But I do believe that she's the beneficiary of being white, pretty much. And it goes back to saying that, what Omarosa was speaking about, how white people can be mediocre, but their mediocrity can be held as being great. How they can be, lacking in talent, but be considered the most talented. So Adele is a beneficiary of that particular worldwide institutional racism. So, with that being said, I wish Adele continued success. I wish that people would understand, in my opinion, as to about vocal sounds, vocal techniques, and things like that. But I think that the people who like Adele, keep on liking her. Keep buying her. Keep supporting her. You can. But I'm going to like the people who I like and keep supporting them. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, that was another edition of Seeing Beyond and Through with Monty. And I will see you all beyond and through.